For 6 months every year, an entire region of India gets cut off from the rest of the country. Ladakh, a high-altitude cold desert in the Himalayas, depends on a single mountain road to connect it to the Kashmir Valley. That road climbs over the Zoji La Pass at 11,578 feet, through some of the most dangerous terrain on Earth. Every winter, heavy snowfall and avalanches bury the pass completely. Every spring, snow-clearing machines spend weeks cutting through ice walls taller than houses just to reopen it. And a single avalanche can close it again overnight. For half the year, the only way in or out of Ladakh is by air. India is now solving that with one of the most extreme engineering projects it has ever attempted. A 13-kilometer tunnel drilled straight through the mountain beneath the Zoji La Pass. When complete, it will be Asia's longest high-altitude road tunnel. A journey that today takes 3 hours across a deadly mountain pass, when it is open at all, will take just 15 to 20 minutes. And Ladakh will be connected to the rest of India all year round for the first time in history. Please take a moment to subscribe and like the video. It really helps the channel. This is the story of how India is drilling through the Himalayas to reach the one region it could never reliably access. To understand why India would attempt this, you have to understand the Zoji La Pass. The pass sits at around 3,500 meters, 11,578 feet, on the road between Srinagar in the Kashmir Valley and Leh in Ladakh. It is the single gateway between the two regions, and it is one of the most treacherous stretches of road anywhere in the country. In winter, the pass is simply impassable. Snowfall buries it under meters of ice. Avalanches sweep across the road without warning. Even after winter, the snow walls left behind melt slowly, causing landslides and rockfall well into the year. Drivers face narrow, unpaved sections with sheer drops and no barriers. Fatal accidents happen regularly. For the people of Ladakh, this is not an inconvenience. It is isolation. For roughly 6 months every year, the region is effectively sealed off by road, dependent on air links for supplies, medical access, and movement. An entire population lives cut off from the rest of the country for half of every year. And there is a strategic dimension. Ladakh shares sensitive high-altitude borders, and it has long depended on that single seasonal road for the movement of supplies. A region that can only be reliably reached for half the year is a region that is difficult to support, difficult to supply, and difficult to develop. India needed a way to keep Ladakh connected through the winter. The only reliable solution was to go under the mountain. The Zoji La Tunnel is an engineering project pushed to the edge of what is possible. At 13.15 kilometers long, it is a horseshoe-shaped, single-tube, 2-lane tunnel bored directly through the mountain beneath the pass. That makes it nearly 1.5 times the length of the Atal Tunnel, India's current high-altitude record holder. When it opens, it will be the longest single-tube, bi-directional road tunnel ever built at this altitude, with approaches sitting around 3,000 meters above sea level. Building at this height is brutally difficult. The air is thin. Temperatures plunge far below freezing. The construction season is short, squeezed between winters that shut everything down. Workers and machinery operate in an environment where the mountain itself is unstable. The same avalanches and rockfall that make the surface road deadly also threaten the tunnel's approaches. The geology adds another layer of difficulty. Drilling through Himalayan rock means dealing with unpredictable fault zones, water ingress, and shifting pressures deep inside a young, still rising mountain range. Every meter of excavation had to be reinforced and stabilized before crews could move forward. On average, the teams advanced just 2.5 to 3 meters per day. 13 kilometers of tunnel, dug at roughly the length of a small car every 24 hours. The project is being executed by Mega Engineering and Infrastructures at a cost of around 6,800 crore rupees, roughly $800 million. It was first approved back in 2013, but serious construction only began in 2020 after the company originally awarded the project collapsed into bankruptcy, forcing the government to re-tender the entire tunnel. Then, in June 2026, after nearly 6 years of drilling from opposite ends of the mountain, a final blast removed the last 2.5 meters of rock, separating the two crews. For the first time, daylight connected both sides of the mountain through the tunnel. The hardest part, cutting through the mountain, was done, but the tunnel was not finished. The Zoji La Tunnel is not a standalone project. It is the final and hardest piece of a much larger system. The full route from Sonamarg to the edge of Ladakh involves a network of tunnels, bridges, and avalanche protection structures designed to keep the entire road open year-round, not just the pass itself. An earlier link in that chain, the 6.5-kilometer Sonamarg Tunnel, is already complete. Zoji La is the longest and most difficult piece. Together, these projects transform the road between Kashmir and Ladakh from a seasonal, dangerous half-year route into an all-weather corridor. A 20-minute drive through the mountain in conditions that today would close the road for months. The impact extends well beyond convenience. For Ladakh's residents, it means year-round access to hospitals, schools, and markets. An end to the seasonal isolation that has defined life there for generations. Officials expect tourism to grow significantly, along with new employment and trade that a permanently connected Ladakh makes possible. And strategically, an all-weather route means the region can be supplied and supported through the winter for the first time. A capability that matters enormously for a high-altitude frontier region that has historically depended on air links when the snow closes in. But breaking through the rock is not the same as finishing the tunnel. After the June 2026 breakthrough, significant work remains. The tunnel still needs its final concrete lining along much of its length. Its ventilation systems, lighting, fire safety, drainage, and the electronic monitoring systems that a modern high-altitude tunnel requires. In an environment this hostile, each of these steps is slow and difficult. The timeline reflects that. Although some earlier targets had pointed to 2026 for completion, the realistic full operational date has been extended to February 2028. Building a tunnel this complex, at this altitude, simply takes longer than anyone plans for. There is also the permanent challenge of operating a tunnel in this environment. Building it is one battle. Keeping it open, maintaining a 13-kilometer tunnel and its approaches through Himalayan winters, avalanches, and the constant geological stress of a moving mountain range is a challenge that will continue for as long as the tunnel exists. For as long as anyone can remember, Ladakh has lived by the rhythm of the snow. 6 months connected, 6 months sealed off. A region reachable by road only when the mountain allowed it. The Zoji La Tunnel ends that. A 13-kilometer passage drilled through the Himalayas, turning a deadly 3-hour crossing into a 20-minute drive and connecting one of India's most isolated regions to the rest of the country every single day of the year. It is a tunnel built at the limit of what engineering can do at extreme altitude through unstable rock in one of the harshest environments on the planet. When it opens, the snow will still fall on the Zoji La Pass. The avalanches will still come. The 20-foot walls of ice will still bury the old road every winter. And beneath all of it, the traffic will keep moving. Through the mountain in the dark all year long,